Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Chris Legaspi, and today in this video, we are going to do a composition and design study after the great Jean-Dominique Ang. It's spelled Ingres, so forgive me for my French pronunciation. So Ang was a 19th century French academic realist master, one of the great French realists in history, and this is one of his famous paintings here, the Grand Odalisque. And in this video, we're going to particularly look at and study Ang's composition and design. In my mind, he was a brilliant designer, especially his very abstract and graphic design. Believe it or not, although you see lots of beautiful realism in this photo and his work, he was a master of abstract design, which is the building block of great composition. So we'll take a look at that in particular. I'll show you the materials I use, and make sure to stay to the end because I'll show you um, a compositional technique, a little hack that Ang uses that you could also use in your work to make your compositions much more dynamic. So thank you for being here, my friends. I appreciate you. And before we begin, I just want to quickly shout out my website, www.drawwithchris.com. So if you want to learn more about composition, you want to learn more about portrait drawing, you want to learn more about design or figure drawing, I have a lot of free resources on my website. All you have to do is go to my website and sign up for my free email newsletter. I started writing newsletters again, so you can get my most in-depth techniques and strategies. I'll show you my materials and techniques and a lot of free resources to help you not only be a better composer, but be a better artist overall. So all you have to do is go to www.drawwithchris.com. Make sure to enter your email and you'll be good to go. And before we begin, comment below. Where are you located? Where are you watching from? And what time is it for you? I am currently in Thailand myself. It's 3 in the afternoon for me. So shout out to you wherever you are. And shout out to all of my European or Middle Eastern viewers. I normally don't live stream in your time zone, so I appreciate you being here. All of those of you in Europe or the Middle East or Africa as well. Thank you for being here. Okay, first I just want to quickly break down my materials. So this is it's a moleskin sketchbook, ordinary moleskin sketchbook. It's got a nice, really nice paper. I like it, and it's expensive, but it's got a nice paper, and that's what we're going to use for the paper. But any paper will work. And as far as the tools go, I'm actually going to do most of my drawing with a very thin color pencil. So this is color pencil by Prismacolor, and then uh, because we're going to do mostly a design analysis, I'm going to look at his graphic shapes and his blacks and dark masses. Because we're going to look mostly at his blacks and graphic shapes, I'm going to actually use pen. So these are all felt pens and markers. Sakura Micron felt tip pen, beautiful. 0.05, nice small size. And then 2 Sharpies. Classic, my favorite markers. Shout out to Sharpie. They're so much fun, and they're cheap, and they're easy to find. So those are my materials, my friends. Let's begin. Sorry if there's a bit of glare here. I'll probably edit this and upload an image still on this side. Okay, the first thing I want to do, I'm sure I have the top of my sketchbook here, is I want to try to match the aspect ratio. And by the way, you want to do these relatively small. If you notice the size of the sketchbook, it's not that big. So you can do them this size, not this size, but this size would be great. But for this video, obviously, I want to do a little bit bigger, so we all have something to look at, something nice to look at. Let's see. So what I'm going to try to do is I want to first match the aspect ratio. That means the general shape of the frame, general size and shape of the frame. Make sure it's not too rectangular or too wide or too square. I want to do my best to match the aspect ratio, because this is such an important part of the composition, my friends. The placement of things in the frame is so important. So when you're doing these studies, I would encourage you to do your best to try to match the aspect ratio of the original. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm trying to be very, very careful. So I got that. Now I'm going to try to match the drawing, and because this is in pencil, I can still make changes to the frame. I'm going to do my best to match the drawing, and specifically the placement of the figure and where it is relative to the canvas. So basically all of the negative space that you see is really important, and it's consciously designed by the artist, by Ang. So we want to honor that as much as possible. So that's why we got to be very careful here. Normally if I'm doing a tonal composition study, just trying to look for the tone shapes and the tone frameworks, tone strategies, I normally don't have to be this strict. You can have a little bit of room for error, but in this case, because it's specifically a very detailed design study, we got to nail this shape. I got to nail this shape as best as possible. That means not only the drawing as best as I can, but also the negative space and the relationship of the subject's placement in the frame. Super important here. And of course, I got to match the drawing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is not easy, my friends. I'll try to get through it quickly. Try to get through it quickly. And please, if you're doing this at home, you're following along with me, please don't think you have to draw as fast as me. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time, so I can I can do this very quickly. Those of you who are new to me, I've been a professional artist for over 15 years now, and I've been teaching for almost as long, over a decade now. So I do lots and lots and lots of these. And if you're new to me, I also work in movie posters for Hollywood films and TV shows. So I understand the importance of, very well, the importance of the, the framing and the placement of subjects in a frame. Very well. Okay, light shape. Really, I'm just trying to nail his shapes. I'm doing the best I can to nail his shapes. And now I can refine my aspect ratio. My original sketch was a little off, actually. It felt more vertical to me than it was. So I think this is as close as I can get. Obviously, I could be very precise and just do a one-to-one as precisely as possible. But it's not too necessary here because I was able to nail it. And I could do lots of measuring things and techniques to get more accuracy, obviously. But just for the sake of this video, I want to go a little bit quickly, which I always say, which I always regret, probably. I probably regret saying that. Yeah, if you're new to drawing and you're watching this or you're following along, this is not going to be easy. Just this. But this is so important. And again, please take your time. You know, I'm going to get this done pretty soon, in less than 5 minutes or so. Believe me, if I was new to drawing, it would take me way more than 5 minutes. So take your time, and it's part of the process, because as you draw and copy and study his shapes, you'll also learn his shape design, which you can use in your own work. That's why we're doing it. That's why we do these things, boy, because they are a way to learn from someone indirectly, in a way, especially if that someone is quite brilliant, hard to access, or no longer living, like our friend Jean-Auguste Dominique Ong. This hand is exquisite, my God. My God. My goodness. These are the kind of hands we all strive to be able to paint or draw. Obviously, too, it's good to step away, which I will do in a minute, and I always say that. Cute little coy smile. And of course, this face is not going to be easy to to copy or study. this is not an easy face to draw. Woo! I'm looking at it and go, oh my goodness, this should take a few hours to draw properly, or at least to lay in properly. It should take some more careful lay-in time, but I just don't have that time in this video. Okay, and that face is a little bit too small, so let me do something about that. Oh yeah, I think actually no, it's feels right. I'm trying to find the alignments here. Oh, that's right. See, my alignment is pretty good. Huh. Probably gonna have the editor high speed this part. We're not at the good stuff yet, so we're probably gonna time lapse this part. Okay, well, I'm not completely happy with that face, but we got to move on, my friends. Yeah, I really should spend way more time than I'm doing now. But for the 100th time, you don't want to watch, you don't want to sit here for an hour to watch me do this. Trust me, it's not that fun. So let's try to see if I can get to the good stuff before before the end of this video. Here we go. So that line's good. This line feels pretty good. This line feels pretty good. Okay. So we got aspect ratio, figure blocked in. Negative space relationships look pretty good. It took longer than expected. Let's get to what are we doing now? Okay, we got the figure blocked in. We got the aspect ratio pretty good. I'm going to, and I like this step a lot. Going to lock my frame in with a line. So it's really crisp and clean, and I can clearly separate it from the paper. That's the main goal here, really. I just want to be able to clearly see the edge of my frame from the paper, and then this will help us do that. reinforced with marker. Okay, next I'm going to reinforce the blue pencil lines I just did, my little sketch lines, my little lay-in, and lock in these shapes, and then we'll hit the marker next. Exquisite. It's basically going over my lines, basically. A lot of this stuff will be masked, so I don't need to be super careful. Because next we're going to use the next we're going to use the marker to punch in the blacks, define the blacks. That's the bread and butter of this design. This is gorgeous dark masses. There's that beautiful arrow at the bottom here. This blue shape, this dark shape is also a arrow. This white oh shoot. Okay, I'm a bit lost there. Keep going here. Beautiful lace thingy. Gorgeous hands. Gorgeously painted face. My God, that drawing is exquisite. Gorgeous curve of the hand. Gorgeous bump of the wrist. My goodness. That is an incredible wrist. Stunning. There's a, gosh. Okay. So I'm off here a little bit. Space is getting tight. Okay, it's better. Okay. Okay, now we got the main my main drawing. Now I'm going to fill the dark masses. All right, so remember we analyzed the dark massing, and it's basically what I see is this whole, the hair, the shirt, the background, even the chair is all one big dark mass. There's a few little light shapes in these little fabric detail, but that is also quite subdued relative to everything else. So I'm just going to basically draw the big dark masses first. Are you kidding me? Obviously her hair. The background. Very, very dark. Of course, this lace on her head is not an accident. That's a consciously designed thing to frame the head. You'll see in a minute. It's a consciously designed framing element to separate her from the dark mass of the background, because her hair is designed as a dark mass. So if you want her to pop out, you have to separate a little bit of her shapes. And that's really all I'm doing here. Obviously her clothing, her fabric, all one mass, including the chair, but we're going to call that out in a different way. I'll show you in a minute why I'm doing that. But the chair is very dark, especially if you squint. You can see the chair is very dark. The shadow of this fabric thing right here. The fabric thing itself is very dark also, but I'm going to call that out separately. Next, continue with the thing, her clothing here. So I'm going to separate the dark mass shapes in her clothing. Jewelry, obviously. White fabric, obviously, that's a design element. Shape in the white fabric. And this little light shape right there, super important. I'm going to draw the contour of this chair, even though it's going to be masked with the blacks. Another important light shape. This is the arrow that we talked about in the previous video. Another blue arrow. We talked about this. And I'm not 100% sure what to do with the blue in her hand. I might group that with dark halftone. All right, so that's the big masses are very clear. Now I want to show you the smaller masses. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So this is what we talked about with masses and linking. So there's a big mass here, there's a big mass here, there's a big beautiful light shape known as a face and a hand. So there's a gap. There's a gap between the masses, the top mass, her fabric, and the bottom masses, right? So we got to link them, and her hair is a part of the mass, purposely separated in this case for emphasis. But watch how he gets to the hair. From the hair, he links the dark mass of the hair using these beautiful core shadow accents. That's why I'm punching in them really dark. Because if you squint, 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 you'll see that this thing is very, very dark. Not as dark as the mass, but pretty dark. And then, of course, the eyes. Even though she has blue eyes, they're still fairly dark. Shadow shape, not quite. Under plane of the nose, not quite. But check this out. The cast shadow of her face, and then some of the details down here. Boop, 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 boop. Little detail here. And then the inside of the hand. And this finger, top side of the finger, shadow of the finger. That leads you down. So you see how he goes from the hair to the brow to the nose, boop. And then there's some tone here. I don't want to put it in marker, it's not that dark. There's a little bit of tone that leads you into the finger, which leads you into the dark accent of this the hand and the neck, which leads you back up to the hair, which in this case here connects directly by this dark mass of shadow behind her hair, and then boom, boom, boom. So it goes from here, here, here to the face, and then this way and this way and this way. Gorgeous. That's how we do it, my friends. That's how we design. That's how you group dark masses. Thank you, Dominique Ong, for your service, for your work. My goodness, this man is so much fun. And check this out. He's linking the dark mass of the body to the dark mass on this side, dark mass middle to dark mass right, and he has to link it through this big old important light shape, which is a human arm and hand. So watch this. He takes the cast shadow or the shadow of the bracelet and uses it as a little bridge. Boom, 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 boom. See? Boop, 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 boop. And then now the left is linked with the right. So both masses are linked. Very cool. So far on, oops. Okay. Now I'm going to fill the mass and you will see the magic. You will see why it took me so long to draw these outlines so carefully, or semi-carefully. Because once you see the masses filled in, it'll make so much sense. Then you'll realize, like, oh, that's why I like certain paintings. Or, oh, that's why Chris Legaspi won't shut up about this stupid tonal composition stuff. Or, oh, that's why Steve Houston talks about tonal composition all the time. Or, oh, that's why a bunch of my favorite artists talk about tonal composition all the time. Oh, that's why. You'll just see it pop and sizzle, and you'll be like, oh my God, I'm going to do that with all of my artwork. Yeah, and you should, in my opinion. That's what I do. And this is so genius. You know, I recently discovered Ong, and shout out to Gamo Lack Institute. I knew about him, but I never really appreciated him until I saw a video by Gamo Lack Institute. So shout out to Gamo Lack Institute YouTube channel. They do some wonderful, wonderful, excellent art biographies. And then they showed some pieces of Ong that I'd never seen, and my jaw dropped when I saw them because I was like, oh, I know what he's doing. Oh wait, I forgot one thing. There's a bridge. There's actually a bridge between the cast shadow of the neck into the mass of the body through the core shadow and contour shadow of the arm as it goes do 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 do. You see? You see how he bridged hair? Let me zoom in real quick. Sorry, I had to pause real quick. So you see how he bridged the hair into the cast shadow. So bridged or linked the darks from the hair to the cast shadow through the hand. Boom. Now from the face to the body, there's a big, bright, colorful pearl necklace blocking the way. So he doesn't go this way. He goes through the hand. You see, cast shadow of the hand, boop, 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 designed around this thing, this scarf thingy, down to the wrist, and then cast shadow of the scarf thingy into the black mass. You see? Doot, 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 doot. Wow. This guy is a genius, my friends. And that is how you handle darks. You definitely want to do as much of that as possible because, as I mentioned many times before, if your darks are isolated, they look terrible. Steve Houston calls it spotty, and that's what it is. So we can learn from Ong right here. Okay, back to the mass. Sorry about that. Let's get so excited. Even some of this chair. Now there's a gradient here. There's a gradient here. It's dark, but there's a gradient, and it kind of ends like right here. It's actually a bit of a cast shadow. I think it's her cast shadow. So I'll do a gradient with marker there. Dark fabric. This thing is coming to life. Oh, the blacks. The blacks, the blacks, the blacks. I don't know what it is. I'm going through a blacks phases, I guess. The more I look at Ong and Howard Pyle, Cornwell, I've studied for many years, the more I appreciate blacks and chiaroscuro and black masses. And of course, I'm going to ignore all this detail because it's gorgeous detail, but it's a black mass. And I'll probably just ruin my sketch underneath. Forgot to do that. And of course, the black mass in the background. went and grabbed, I went and grabbed a bit older Sharpie. I think it's older. Yeah. What you saw me using was a pretty new Sharpie, so it's nice and rich and dark. But if I want to do a gradient marker, you can get the same marker, but one that has, it's older and drier, so it'll produce more of a fadey mark. So I learned this from Steve. Shout out to Steve Houston. Comment below if you're a Steve Houston fan watching me. You probably are. Shout out if you are a New Masters Academy, or if you found me a New Masters, shout out to you. Shout out to New Masters and Steve, of course. And check this out. Wow. Got that gradient with a marker. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. All right, let's quickly pause before I do any halftones. But wow, my friends, look at this. This makes me so happy. This makes me so happy. Just to see the glory of this dark mass, my friends. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, it just makes me so happy. This, my friends, this is what this entire painting is built on. A designed, big old dark black mass. Well, she's a black mass, and her hair's a black mass, but this is also a dark mass. Everything is dark. All, just like we talked about in the analysis, all of this is there to showcase the face and the hand. You see, exquisite face, exquisite hand, exquisite jewelry, exquisite detail, but he's like, you know what? I'm not gonna put it everywhere because I'm a good composer. I'm only gonna put detail where I want you to look, where I really want you to look, the main focal point, and then I'm going to also, because I'm an awesome composer, I'm going to frame all of my gorgeous detail and face and hand in this beautiful abstract dark mass, so you have no doubt when you come to my picture, when you see me in the museum, when you see me in the gallery, you have no doubt where to look first. Boom, 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 boom. Look here, look here, look here, look here, look here. So he grabs you. Let me zoom out. As far as I can zoom out. So he grabs you from a distance with the powerful dark mass, beautifully designed dark mass, and just enough detail and shape design for you to go, oh, I think that's a face. That's a human being. That's a picture of a human being. Oh, okay, I'm interested. And then as you get closer, then he dazzles you with, you're like, oh my God, it's a gorgeous realist thing. Holy crap, wow. Holy cow, look at that gorgeous realism. Oh my God, I'm in love. And you see, once he gets you, you stay. You stay in the picture because there's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else to go. Once he gets your attention and he makes you walk up to the canvas, and once he dazzles you with his gorgeous draftsmanship, painting, color, technique, materials, excellent technique, blah, 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 gorgeous craft, you have nowhere else to go. See, he's basically inviting you in and then forcing you to stay on where he wants you to stay. That, my friends, is composition, my friends. That, to me, is composition. That's why Ong is special. That's why I care so much about this stuff. Because I want that for you. I want your pictures to hang in galleries and people to be like, wow, look at that gorgeous design. Let me take a closer look. Or those of you watching who want to be movie poster artists like me or Mike Butkus, I want your movie poster designs from 20 feet away, from a billboard across the street, to be like, wow, look at that gorgeous abstract design. Let me get a closer look. Let me check out that movie. Let me check out that comic book. Let me check out that book. Wow. That's beautiful, my friends. Let's keep going. This is exciting. I'm getting hyped up. All right, sorry. You know, before I made this video, I promised I wasn't going to get too excited, but look what happens. I don't know. Maybe you guys like this. Comment below. Comment below? Should I be more chill and relaxed, or do you like it when I go on these long rants and go off the rails? Because I can do both. Believe me. I have a chill mode, but I never record it on camera, or maybe I do. Anyway, wow, I'm just so, I'm so glad I discovered Ong. Shout out to Gemolak again. But I feel so grateful right now. Guys, I feel so grateful. You know, I didn't grow up in Los Angeles. Okay, I'm I was born in Asia. I was born in the Philippines, and I grew up in a small town in America, in a small state called Florida. Well, it's not that small now. Jeez, my eyes are going crazy. And you know, when I started to draw, I was in a small town in America. I mean, obviously, America has a lot of opportunities, but I was basically on the opposite side of Hollywood. That's what I'm trying to say. I was in a small town which is on the other side of the country from Hollywood, which were, at the time, for me, were all the best, you know, illustration artists, commercial artists, fine artists, and and this was before the internet, right? Before the internet, before YouTube tutorials, before New Masters Academy, before online programs, before Gumroad. I had to like look this stuff up in books. It was crazy. I can't believe I survived without the internet. But anyway, I didn't know this stuff, guys. I didn't know any of this stuff when I first started my journey. It wasn't until I actually saved up enough money and got enough courage to move to Hollywood, and that's where my life changed forever. That's when I met Steve Houston, Mark Westermo, Kevin Chen, Sergio Sanchez. I met all of these world-class artists who were also teaching me all of this stuff like dark massing. Shout out to Steve Houston. Steve Houston's the first person to show me that, hey, you know what? All of that realist stuff you like, it's actually abstraction. I'm like, what? That's the first reaction. He told me that to my face. He's like, Chris, you know all that realist stuff you like? It's actually very abstract. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe him. And he said, no, let me show you. And then he did this. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right, Steve. They are quite abstract, actually. He's like, yeah, I told you. And you should do it too. And I was like, okay, let me try. And then boom, here we are. Here we are. So I'm just so grateful. I mean, this information literally changed my life. I would not be here right now. I would not be a working artist right now if nobody showed me this stuff. So I appreciate you being here. I hope this is helpful. I hope you don't mind my ranting. I do get excited, I'll admit. I get so excited. I get so passionate because, like I said, this information to me was life-changing for me. I feel so passionate about the information. It literally changed my life. It literally turned me from amateur artist with no money to a professional artist with a little bit of money sometimes. A little bit of money, you know, as much as an art professional can make, whatever. And, you know, I was able to work on video games, movie posters, and all this stuff. So anyway, what I'm doing now is the halftone. Sorry, let's get back to work here. Sorry. So we got this, right? We got the black. We know the white of the paper, which we know will be her arm and this white thingy and this fabric. The arm, we know the white will be the arm, her skin, her face, this bonnet thing, her collar, her wrist thing, the sleeve, and these little light shapes. These little light shapes, remember, these are designed arrows. These are conscious arrows, not by accident. So that is part of the design. And then I'm also going to do the dark halftones. God, my thing is so ugly. Which are closer to the blacks, like the chair. So let's get back to work here. And I'm not shading at all. I just want the values. I just want the correct light shapes to appear. Like on the face. The face is not all light. It is some halftone. Her light shapes are forehead and face. If you look at the thing, it's forehead and face right there. So we'll do this. I just, I just need to kill the white of the paper on the face with a light halftone so that we can analyze the tone shapes properly. Although this is not a tone study, like I mentioned. Gotta do more of a gradation. That was ugly. It's a bit awkward for me because I'm recording this at a weird angle. I can't see properly. Okay, get the face, a little bit of gradation. And notice too, lots of gradation. I'm looking for the gradations. The hand, again, it's not so much that I want to shade the hand. I just need a tone to neutralize, to slightly darken the value of the hand so that it pops her wrist. Really, the hot spot, I believe, is right here. The hot spot is right here. Her forearm and this piece of white fabric. So hot spot meaning the brightest bright, sorry. The brightest bright thing is right here, and that's probably not an accident. This also is very bright. This hand's very bright. The blue is quite dark, so that's a dark halftone. We'll get to that in a minute. And then the hand in thing. I just want to make sure I note the beautiful arrow shapes. Finally, let's do the, oh, this is, I need to call this out too. Well, let me do the dark halftones now. So now we're going to do darker halftones that are closer to the black, and that's basically the chair. That's really the chair. That's really all this stuff, actually. And I'm going to use Prismacolor, a darker Prismacolor in a minute. So you can fully see the beauty of this tonal design as well. This tonal design is so simple and stunning. That's what I like about it. It's just so simple and, gosh, this makes me so happy. Ugly gradient. Oh my goodness. Let me fix that. That is ruthlessly ugly. Not happy with that. All right. This actually should be a marker. There you go. Okay, now I'm just going to take my Prismacolor Premier. So this is the soft, dark Prismacolor. The very thin is more hard. It's more for finer marks. I'm just going to go over what I did because this stuff is really dark. It's dark. It should be grouped with the darks, but I just wanted you to see how cool the mass of her thing was. And this thing, I'll talk about it at the end. This this chair has a unique function in composition, and I'll show you. So she gets that background. And this blue is a dark halftone. This little blue shape near her hands. And that's about it, my friends. So the darks looking good. Let me do one more pass. Sorry, I'm gonna use graphite here because this is so. The face is too bright. Face is too bright for this thing, so I just need to. Because really, I want you to see how much that arm pops. That is his design, my friends. So we have to darken the face, which is okay, because the face, you need some value to get saturation. You want the face to have those beautiful rosy cheeks, the beautiful flesh-colored halftones, the beautiful saturated transitions. They need to go a little bit darker to get the saturation that we want. So that's okay. I'm using graphite here because it's more gentle and has more control than the Prismacolor. Prismacolor is also very permanent, so I got to be careful. And here's those tones I mentioned earlier. Remember earlier I mentioned he links the nose through the tones in the face, and there he is. You see? See how these subtle halftones in the face, they link, in the nose links the subtle halftones in the mouth, which goes down to the chin, which links with all the beautiful work he did in the hands and this thumb, and these beautiful, beautiful, gorgeously designed dark shapes. And this thing too is a light, well, it's actually a dark halftone. All right, my friends. There we go. So that kind of concludes our little study here. We got the darks beautifully well described as best as we could after the master, Ong. All of our darks are linked. So now we learned a bunch of ways. Now, because we studied his dark masses, now we learned a bunch of ways to link dark mass with the hair into the body, dark mass with the body. We can use jewelry to link dark masses. We can use the hand and shadow shapes to link dark masses. We can use cast shadows. We can use costume elements to separate dark masses when we want. This is a conscious design. I bet you he either added this in or he could have left it out. But that is a conscious design to clearly separate the face, because like I mentioned, he's forcing you to look in his face and stay in his face. That's what this helps do. We got the gradations. And yeah, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about this. I feel pretty good. So that concludes the tonal composition. The analysis, I did a deep dive analysis on this painting. So make sure to watch that video, part one. And now, for those of you who stayed to the end, I want to show you a little compositional trick. Are you ready? And for that, I'm going to need my red Prismacolor. Jesus, sharpener's awful. Okay, so we got dark mass. We got the linking of the dark masses. We got the framing or the framing of the lights using dark mass, face, hand, wrist. Then we could see his compositional design, this beautiful abstract arrow basically right here. And we could also see his beautiful eye flow. Look at this beautiful eye flow. Remember, you see this arrow, whoop, forcing you in, whoop, arrow. This thing is an arrow. Every line, every curve is an arrow, whoop, whoop, whoop. He's like, nope, stay in my picture, stay in my picture, stay in my picture. You're not allowed to leave. Stay, stay, stay. Because remember, this stuff right here, so this, as an abstraction, is basically this. Her face, her collar thing, and her hand is basically this. You see that? It's basically this kind of curvy arrow, right? That's a strong arrow. That's a strong arrow. It points out. He's forcing you, he's leading your eye very strongly into the corner. But of course, he don't want you to stay in the corner. He wants you to stay in the beautiful face that he spent probably a month on or whatever, or a week. So, lead you back with arrows. So none of these shapes are by accident. And when you analyze them carefully, when you design them carefully, like Ong did, you can see, oh my God, they are literally arrows. But of course, if you look at the original, it's you're dazzled by gorgeous detail. So if your eye is not trained, you're like, oh my God, it's just gorgeous detail. But no, 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 no. It's much more than just gorgeous detail. It is stunning, crisp shape design to lead you back in. Boom, 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 boom. All of these too. Look at these beautiful arrows right here. You see that? That's an arrow shape. That's an arrow shape right here. These are all arrow shapes, leading you back up. And once you go up, the curve will lead you into the thing. Then he grabs you with the white. So you go up here, boom, 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 and then you're stuck. Then you're in the loop, right? Then you go from here. Then you're in the loop. You look at the beautiful face. The light shapes lead you down, but then the arrow shapes lead you back up, and then you're never going to leave the picture. And that's the goal. That's what we all want, my friends. We all want our pictures to be appreciated. We all want people to like our work, people to feel something when they look at our work. That's the highest goal. And we all want people to engage with our pictures. We don't want people to just like look at our picture for half a second and walk away. Of course not. Or look at our picture or scroll through Instagram and people scroll past our picture. No, we want our picture to have impact. We want people to stay. And this is how we do it, my friends. This is how you want people to stop on your in the Instagram feed. You want people to stop on your thumbnail. Learn from Dominique Ong. You want people to stop when they're scrolling on Facebook? You want people to stop on your post? Learn from Dominique Ong, my friends. And I'll show you one last trick that makes this picture so compelling, and it's the principle of counterbalance. Counterbalance. Are you ready? Thank you for staying to the end. I appreciate you. Counterbalance. Counterbalance. So this is a pretty powerful thing. And what counterbalance is, my friends, is we do this. Oh, I should draw it big. If we have a picture, we generally want one side to be more dominant, to be larger, to take up more attention, and one area to take up less attention. So this creates beautiful compositional framing. So we all love to see this, and to make sure that we counterbalance, we can do a couple things. One, we could either move the fulcrum, or the center of the frame closer to the little small area so that it covers up the big mass. And we can also use color, and that's what Dominique Ong does here. Let me check. I will show you what I mean. So check this out. So we have our picture. So this picture is basically like this, right? Kind of centered. Lots of gray dark masses here. And then on this side, you have a face. Powerful, very bright light shape arrow thing over here, and then over here. You guys see that? So this is the abstraction, the face in light, all beautiful light shapes, and then on the right, you have this interesting and powerful, very bright arrow. Remember the arm, the wrist, and her forearm and her fabric. So it's kind of like that, right? You see, you notice a lot of that interesting stuff is on the right side of the frame. You notice it's very heavy. It's very heavy on the right side of the frame. Very, very heavy. Very heavy, right? A lot of weight. A lot of weight on the right side. A lot of gray and darkness on the right side. How does he counterbalance? How does he counterbalance all of this mass? So this is weight. This is visual weight. It's right here. How does he counterbalance it all? How does Dominique Ong counterbalance this almost square symmetrical composition? So he has a lot of weight here, basically. He has a lot of weight here. The fulcrum is actually in the middle, or very close to the middle. How does he balance that, my friends? Does he balance it with the tiny shape? Does he balance it with contrast? Comment below. Do you see it? You probably already know. I already gave you the clue. How does he balance, counterbalance? How is counterbalance used in this composition? Do you see it? That's right, my friends. Color. The red chair. And it's not that bright, but it's quite dark. And notice the chair is red, but it's not like a bright cherry red or cadmium red. It's a fairly dark red. That's counterbalance, my friends. So there you go. That's a compositional hack that you can use. Thank you to our friend Dominique Ong. You don't have to counterbalance with tone and shape alone. You can pull your composition apart. Basically, you can put your smaller elements further away from the big mass elements, or if you want them tighter, you can use a powerful tool like the color red. So thank you for joining me, my friends. This is a good stopping point. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you for those who stick around to the end. If you like my work, you like this video, we'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. If you like my work, you like this video, I have a lot of free resources on my website, including composition, portrait drawing. I even have painting in color. If you want more in-depth resources from a 20-year professional artist, 15-year teacher or so, and author, go to my website, www.drawwithchris.com, and make sure to sign up for my free email newsletter. And once you enter your email, you'll be good to go, my friend. You'll have full access to all of my wonderful free resources. So thank you for being here. And I will close with this. Those of you who are still here, I appreciate you. Comment below. Who should I analyze next? Who is next, my friends? Who do you want me to analyze next? Do you want to see more Ang? Do you want to see some of the more famous masters? Do you want me to find some obscure masters? Are there some masters that you know that we haven't seen? Comment below, my friends. Who should I analyze next? And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.